Hi, Fabienne Alsing, Raw Food Pro, Vibrant Naturally. This morning I was asked to demonstrate how to make fermented vegetables. I love fermented vegetables, they're really delicious and really good for you. Raw fermented vegetables, that is, like raw sauerkraut and other. You can use any vegetables you like, really, any root vegetables particularly. And so they're really delicious and so simple to make. And so I'm going to show you how to make a really delicious raw sauerkraut. So all we need really is a cabbage, a white cabbage, which I've taken the outer leaf off. And then we need some salt. We need about a teaspoon of salt for a head of cabbage. So if you've got half a head of cabbage, then you would use half a teaspoon of salt, and so on and so forth. So I took the outer leaf off the cabbage because we're going to use that on top of the jar once we've got the prepared sauerkraut into a jar whilst it's fermenting. So I'm going to put this outer leaf aside for a little bit, and then I cut my cabbage underneath up into kind of bite-sized chunks really that I can put in my food processor and grate. So I've got my food processor here, and if I take the lid off my food processor, you can see that I've got the grating tool on my food processor. And so I'm going to take the lid off and I'm going to put the cabbage into the lid, the grating lid on the food processor, and put the plunger on top, if it'll stay there. Actually, I'll just turn the food processor and it makes grated cabbage. So once this cabbage has been grated, I transferred it into a bowl and added a teaspoonful of salt to the bowl. And then what I do is I put some gloves on because we're going to massage this cabbage and give it a really good massage. And whilst we're massaging it, lots of liquid will come out of this cabbage. So it's just a matter, I'll get the bowl here so you can see what I'm doing. So it's just really a matter of kind of squeezing it and giving it a really good massage. And as you're doing this with the salt will start to release the liquid in the cabbage. And you can keep going for a little while with this, and then perhaps leave it for 10 minutes or so to really kind of get moist, and then you can massage it for a while again. So I did a batch earlier that I've been massaging for quite some time, and I don't know if you can see, but it's actually really juicy. There's quite a lot of juice in the bottom of this bowl, and that's what we want, because we want to put this massaged cabbage into a jar, and we want the juice to cover it, and then we want to put the outer leaf of the cabbage on top and press it down, and then we just leave it for 3 to 10 days really, depending on how the sourness of the sauerkraut or the pickled vegetables that you want. So I just use a jar like this, and I put my cabbage, my massaged squeezed cabbage, into this jar, and then I pour the liquid on top. Whoops. I'll do the rest later. I'll pour the liquid on top, And you can fill the jar up, but I won't do that right now. But if you look here, you can see perhaps that the liquid in the jar is actually coming higher than the cabbage itself. I don't know if you can see, it's very, very moist and liquid. And so I'm now going to take the leaf that we had taken off from the outside of the cabbage, and I'm going to squeeze that into the jar. Normally the jar's full, so it's much easier to actually do this. And just put that up so that it kind of rests up the sides of the jar above the cabbage, and it kind of stops too much air from getting into the cabbage. And then you can just leave it somewhere warm. You can put a cloth over it and leave it somewhere, like in your kitchen. Not in sunlight, I wouldn't leave it in sunlight, but in your kitchen, in a kind of dark corner of your kitchen or something like that, and just leave it for about 3 days, or you can leave it longer than that. And once the sauerkraut is finished, or the pickled vegetables have been finished, you can put them in the fridge, and they keep for a couple of weeks, and you can add them to salads, you can add them to your lunch. It's just really delicious, and it really feels nourishing in your body when you eat it as well. So that's pickled vegetables, easy as pie. Fabienne Alsing, Raw Food Pro, Vibrant Naturally.